when that happened.
Yeah. I feel like that year or two after university is a real game changer for some people. I think it really encourages you to decide if almost like that reality you've come out of university with is actually the one you wanted for yourself. And I
Yeah.
think it kind of propels you towards being uncomfortable enough to try something. And I did actually, it was quite similar. I had a lot of friends whose relationships didn't make it past university for whichever reason, and it was really difficult for them, and that encouraged a lot of them to travel and try and figure out what they were doing with their lives as well. I think sometimes it's like we go to university sometimes with that hope that we're going to fit in the frame, but then we come out the other side and we actually think maybe the frame stifles us too much.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it was, how long after that was it that you met Jalal and Chris, or was it a period of time and then you met Jalal and Chris?
Um, I met Chris at first, and it was around the time of the pandemic. So that was like after I was back, because I moved to California, right? When I started traveling, I moved to California for like a year and a half. And
Mm-hmm.
then after I came back, there was the pandemic, and that's around the time where I met Chris, and yeah,
Was
that was
Chris
the
in
time.
Brazil?
No, it was not in Brazil.
Okay. And then, so as how did you guys get onto the flow of OSIS? Was it personal values that you guys found made sense to each other?
Um, well, at first I started working with them with CoinCare, which I don't know if all of you guys know, but it's a sister company to OSIS. Um,
Hmm.
and then I remember I was just speaking to Chris, and at the time I was in Brazil, and I was in a job that I was not feeling fulfilled. I was like kind of, it felt like I was being exploited almost, because it was, you know, I had to handle like 30 clients alone, which was pretty insane. So
That's
it was a
crazy.
marketing company, yeah, and all alone, and I couldn't handle it. I remember they were like, they were leading me to believe that if I can't handle 30 clients, I'm not like good enough,
Oh,
which is,
wow.
yeah, it was like,
Like
yeah,
corporate gaslighting. No.
yeah, and 30 clients is pretty insane, because I had to do branding for them, and also websites and social media and all of it for 30 clients. That was like
Social
insane.
media on top of it. Like have
Yeah,
active, oh no, no,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no.
So it was
Do you
like
like how I'm like, no, not on top of that. How long did you
flabbergasted.
do that for, lovely? Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you didn't hang around.
Yeah, yeah. I was with them for like around, I think, 6 months or something, and then I was talking about it with Chris, and then he was like, "Hell no."
Yeah, go Chris.
Yeah, and then he invited me to join CoinCare with them, because they needed, branding. They needed a web page. CoinCare was already like working in full, and reaching the goals, but they needed me to join and create the visual aspect of it with them. So then uh, we all traveled to Egypt, and then we started working on CoinCare during that time. It was a very lovely time. I remember that with a lot of love and care for that time. Yeah, it was pretty
That's
special.
that's cool. Do you feel like that was the formation of where you are today with the guys? Like the understanding and the intention and the commitment to what you guys want to achieve. Do you feel like that's where it all started?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it was interesting because like all their ideas and stuff were so out of like everything I knew, honestly.
Yeah, yeah,
That, yeah, it was like sometimes they would speak stuff I didn't understand, and
yeah.
but it never like lost faith in their ideas. That's why I've been with them since that time. That was back in 2021.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then after CoinCare, I think the government closed the program, so we kind of had to shift gears. And then they had this idea for OSIS, but it was not, like materialized yet. It was just their idea and strategy in their minds.
Hmm.
So then, yeah, we at that time we were all in Brazil. So then we started working with OSIS in
Yeah.
2021 as well.
Yeah. Did you have a lot of scope to bring the vision, and then you kind of was it all your baby just bringing it all alive, and just the guys really amped that you were bringing something so great to like that visual representation? Does that make sense?
Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
So, like, is it pretty much been all of your vision, like, and you've just brought it to the guys, and you've kind of sat around the table, and they've said, "Yep, this is good," or maybe something like this, or have you just all like? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I guess honestly, uh, they had the vision, and I was just trying to translate that to the visual aspect of it. So
Hmm.
most of the creative part, especially in the first year, was then coming up with the ideas, me translating into the visual, reproducing the ideas, and then getting feedback and working back and forth on some of the ideas until
Hmm.
we reached like a point where we were all happy with the result.
Yeah. Were you doing a lot of learning, like, because it's such a technical space, and did you have to do a lot of learning while you were trying to create those visuals, bring those visuals?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. First because I never worked for a technology company before, so that has a specific like visual aspect to it that's, for example, different than the other companies I worked for that
Hmm.
had like a totally different market.
Yeah.
So in that sense, yes, and also because I didn't understand anything about like blockchain or
Yeah.
to me it would be just like
Yeah.
on a cloud. Like what are you talking about?
Yeah, yeah. No shame, girl. I think we've all been there. I remember hearing something at one stage and I was like, what?
Like scratching the head, being like, what? Like, are you speaking the same language as I am?
Yeah, definitely. I think I've put a post in Discord, but the first time I heard tradfi, because I am my age, I thought they were talking about a genre of tattooing. And I was like, what? How do we go from like crypto to tattooing? And then I was like, trade finance. Ah. So like I don't, you're not alone. But the fact that you're creating these I'm
Aliens.
imagining everyone stumbled over something like that for sure.
Yeah,
The fact that
hundred
you're
percent.
bringing these images while you're learning, like you're making it come alive visually while you're learning, it must have been a really creative process. Inspiring, was it?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. It was, and back then, I remember we didn't at the very beginning. We barely had like a developer. We had someone helping us launch the token because we also didn't know how like build smart contracts and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So we had someone helping, but like for example, the website. I remember I was like kind of coding it because I know a little bit of front end coding,
Yeah,
not enough for to work in a company like OSIS, for example. But in the
yeah,
very beginning, it was enough. So
yeah.
then, not only learning about this world and trying to develop a visual identity that reflects all of it, but also doing other stuff. Also learning how to not only understand the company, but also trying to learn how to speak about the project. Because okay, I
Mm,
need to tell someone about this project, but I don't even know how to do that. You know what I mean? And it's in English, which is um I'm fluent in English, but it's still not as easy for me as to speak Portuguese, of course, because I spent like I learned English fluently when I was 25, 23, 25.
oh, that's
So yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, that was like another challenge, right?
Yeah. Well, because that's the thing. Like, first language, if you're speaking fluently a second language, it's you're still bringing the message into your, like the conversation into your mind, translating it into your first language, then bringing it back into English and responding, aren't you? That's my understanding of how it works with the second language. So that's incredible that you're inside
No,
such a technical field, learning, bringing it to life visually, but also really trying to take on board this really technical space too.
yeah, yeah. That was not only a real challenge as it is. It still is a challenge for me right now because I feel like not only with this space, but like literally anything more technical that I try to speak about in English, I feel like my vocabulary is still very limited. So that's
Mhm.
something that's still gonna keep improving with time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Do you find there's a particular area that really inspires you about this Web3 culture and the way we're kind of engaging with each other? You know, we agree to all come together and support OSIS. We're going to agree to use the products because we believe in it. Do you find a particular area of the learning really inspiring?
Yeah, yeah. First, what you just said about community, I think that's very, very inspiring and
Mm,
very beautiful, right? Like
yeah,
it's proven, and I could see firsthand with this company how like when people get together for a common goal, it's gonna happen. Even
yeah,
though it might not be easy, it might not be fast, but it's gonna happen, like for sure.
mm, yeah,
So it's incredible to be able to see that so closely. And also the social aspect of it, right? Where the centralization and making sure everyone has access to the technology and to their own money. Honestly,
yeah.
that's something I'm very inspired about. Also, like I always liked like social work and stuff. So I'm very happy to see all of that happening.
Hmm, hmm. Now this is something I'd be interested about because your parents come from, or they're not artistic. What's their thoughts about the OSIS project? Was it one of your biggest um, communication exercises, talking to your parents about this new venture and path that you were stepping down?
You mean with my parents and stuff?
Yeah, like saying, like, that first introduction, like, okay, so this is a new project I'm working on and this is what it's about. How was the reception from your parents?
They don't understand to this day.
Yeah.
No, but they're fully supportive. I guess they never really understood my past, but they
Yeah.
were always supportive. I'm very lucky to have them as a source of support because even when they don't understand, they like fully trust it. They got to
Yeah.
meet Chris and Jalal as well, so uh, they fully trust this project. They believe in it 100%.
Yeah.
They even have their investment on it as well, even though they don't understand. They're just like, here,
They
invest
just
for me and
trust.
take care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would, I think, I imagine when they met Jalal and Chris, they would have just been like, well, that's fine. We're behind the project.
yeah. To
That's
this
really
day, I try.
cool.
Yeah, I still try to like explain to them, and I guess they're like learning little by little, but it's something like so out of their world. And Brazil, like crypto and blockchain, it's like conquering space, but it's still
Hmm.
not like super popular. It's still a very weird concept for most of us.
Yeah.
So it's an adaptation, right? It's a learning curve that's gonna happen for everyone.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think some nations, the learning curve will be more of a J curve, straight up. But like, but I feel like a nation like Brazil will really benefit from the individual being more in control of
Yes.
their own assets and identity, like online? Do you reckon that's going to be a major, important experience that you're going to be able to be involved in as well?
Yeah, 100%. The thing about Brazil, as many other countries, is that they tax so much. Everything is taxes. Like we pay so much taxes. It's pretty crazy,
Yeah,
honestly. So then, of course, that there are some barriers when it comes to like mass adoption. Let's put that way, and
yeah.
putting that in our culture. Like the blockchain, this new technology, and all. It's there's a lot of barriers to it, and especially because that leads to a path of freedom of all these entities that take so much money out of us. So it's not, you know,
It's
their
yeah,
interest. Yeah.
mm,
So
yeah.
the problem with adoption in crypto, I believe right now it's um like how much government taxes you have to pay to even like convert our Brazilian real to any crypto. It's like it's a lot of money. So
Is
people
it?
are like, yeah, yeah. It was like I think when I helped my mom to invest some and buy some houses, I think it was like 10% or something like that she paid for government. It was a lot of money. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So then people, I guess, like,
Holy.
yeah, yeah, it was pretty insane. So people are kind of like scared of like, spending that money without the 100% certainty that's gonna like bring them profit. So I guess
Mm.
that's one of the major like barriers.
Yeah, and I feel like particularly like the repercussions of making that transition as well. Like, what's is there going to be a massive backlash, or are they going to be able to just enjoy the products of the company as well? Like, it's such an unknown, I think. But I feel like is it is it a real motivator for you, the whole social change aspect? And can you sense that it's going to be like the whole decentralized, the linchpin is that you just, all you need is an internet connection and a phone. Like, that's what you need, and you can begin to take steps and kind of control more of your own interactions. Do you feel like that's going to be a really important part of the project in countries like Brazil where there's so much centralized control?
Yeah, 100%. I believe that 100%. We already seen that happening in a few countries, Latin America, like um, El Salvador, for example. It's really big on the blockchain technology and crypto because that gives freedom to people. That's the thing. So
Mm,
I believe, even though it's a little slow right now in Brazil, I don't know too much about the other countries.
yeah,
I believe it's gonna 100% be more popular and a tool of change for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
How's your brother about it? Is he super interested about it?
Uh, Weirdly enough, no.
Is that because he's well? I mean, I suppose if he's uh, that's bizarre. I don't know
I
how
know.
to.
I know. No, I don't know. He's a developer, like I said, and um, I guess he never really gave the chance to understanding it. I think that's the thing. It's not that he's like against it or anything. It's just I don't think he's ever given the chance to really learn about it. And of course, I did speak about it with him, and he thinks it's very cool, like all the initiatives and all.
Mhm.
But he still has that vision that it's like, oh, it's super volatile. Like I don't trust my money. He has that vision. So I guess there is a little bit of um, learning, right?
Yeah,
To be made, and honestly that's like the reality of like many of my friends and stuff. I got shocked the other day too that, for example, my cousin that is like very traditional, very um he likes things done in the very traditional way.
yeah,
Now
yeah,
he's doing a course for learning crypto, and then I'm like, oh, that's like that's progress. Like I guess people are like interested in learning more. They
yeah,
just maybe don't have the all the tools or all the information.
Mm,
But that,
mm,
like, for example, we have OSIS University, right? That's gonna have that already has a
yeah,
lot of content, but it's gonna have way more.
mm,
And ideally, we're gonna like have that in other languages as well. You know,
yeah,
Spanish, Portuguese, like all other languages. So it's very accessible because that's our goal, right? To make things
yeah.
accessible.
Is that something you're working on at the moment, or do you feel like that's something you'd want to work on in the moment, kind of in the future, kind of trying to help that OSIS University content come to life?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's not the main focus at the moment because of all the developing parts that we need right now. But in the near future, I would say so. Yeah.
Mm. What is the major focus for you at the moment, and what is it that you find most of your time revolving around?
I would say UI and UX. So it's user interface, basically
Yeah.
creating the visual aspects of the softwares, creating the screens.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we do need to start doing some testing with our platforms. That's called UX, user experience. So
Mm-hmm.
test with the platforms, seeing how people interact with it, seeing if there's um, any aspect of it that's not working or that's causing confusion.
Yeah.
And also like the branding, the website as well. I'm currently about to finish the website. We're gonna have a new updated version very soon in there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That the when you land on osis.com, the OSIS platform page, that is such a great web page. That update was awesome.
No, thank you.
When Chris is like front and center, and it just goes into the little sound. That's I loved that. So when if you think about the next 3 years for OSIS, how do you envisage your time, the focus of your time? And if you had to choose an area that you would really want to dig down in, which would that be?
Okay, let me see. There's a lot of um parts when it comes to design. So first, on a like personal um judgment of it, I would say making the brand more consistent. We have,
Mm-hmm,
you know, the we have a branding manual, we have the logo that everybody knows, but like
mm-hmm,
sometimes it happens of pieces of it being consistent because there's different people working on it. Sometimes it's something that we need right away, so there's no like a lot of time to pay attention to all the minor details. So what
mm-hmm.
happens is that at the end, like the visual identity of it looks a little inconsistent. And I noticed that like very well, of course, because that's what I do.
Yeah,
I don't know if people are
yeah,
perceiving it. Maybe they don't even notice that at all. I have no idea.
yeah,
So just trying to make everything look more consistent and more clean as well. That's the new update of the website is focused on making it more like clean and also direct. So that's one of the things that it's gonna improve with time with OSIS.
mm-hmm,
And so like I said, the testing of the platforms and reviewing the visual aspect and the interactions that are going to happen in all of these platforms and making sure that all of them, even though they have completely different purposes, like
yeah,
default certain purpose and tokenizer is another purpose, but making sure that even though they're different things, they all follow like one standard visual guideline. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally understand. And I feel like as a designer, that's really going to drive you, is it? Make
What?
I feel like as design, that's going to really drive you to get that same consistency across the board. I feel like it's going to keep you awake a little bit longer every night just to try and get that to happen.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's something that honestly bothers me a lot. I'm like detailed. I'm detail oriented. So many times, like I had to create something like right away because the need was urgent,
Yeah.
and then like almost cry because I'd be like, I want to like spend more time on it. I want to like make it
Oh,
perfect. And then they'd be like, no, but we need to put this out. And of course, there was a reason why it needed to be put out so fast.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I feel like very very passionate about like all of those details, and it can be a very time consuming process. So I understand why I can't spend all the time in the world
So, yeah.
doing
I,
radiance and stuff.
I feel like in terms of detail, the meta badges and the standard meta badges and the rare meta badges you've created, they're just so visually. I love the aesthetic of them. Excuse me. I
Thank
love
you.
the aesthetic of them. They're just so, I don't know how to describe it, but they just feel so unique. Does that make sense? But then I can see why you've kind of kept a consistency with the way you design that person in the frame, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Did what was your inspiration for the meta badges?
Um, First of all, I appreciate the feedback on that. That's very nice to hear.
Oh, they're amazing. I call them my babies and my children.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you have that relationship with them.
I do, I do. I feel
So
like everyone will because we understand the utility of them. They're so
yeah, yeah.
precious.
Thank you, thank you. Um, yeah, I remember that was the three of us were also in Brazil at that time, and I remember we were like selling OSIS at the time, right? And people were buying, and there was already utility behind it, of course, because the whole plan was laid out of having all these softwares and stuff.
Yeah.
But we felt like we needed something a little more like tangible, as like a immediate reward for people, or immediate um, like representation of what they acquired, right? So that's when the meta badges idea came. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, they're gonna buy OSIS, but they're also gonna get this cool art that has also utility behind it. It has value.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's where meta badges came to be.
Oh, we're having technical difficulties. Give it one moment, guys. My goodness, Twitter is crazy.
You guys can hear me?
His music is vibing.
Hello, hello.
Yeah. Pump it. Pump it.
Cool. Yeah, we had apparent crash with Twitter, but we're back in. Just waiting a few seconds for people to join back in as well.
Twitter. It has been so buggy today.
Yeah, that's weird. Just like fully crashed the whole thing. I thought for a second it was my internet, but yeah, then I saw the whole thing. Hello.
Yes, I'm here. Now,
Okay,
where did
cool.
we get up to? Were we talking about meta badges?
Yeah, I was kind of going through the process. So
Yes.
yeah, like I was saying,
Please.
we wanted to create like something to represent the OSIS acquisition. So and also like an NFT that gives people other benefits as well, like having a voice in the community. So that's how the meta badges started, and
Oh my goodness.
and then the visual of it. At first we were like unsure of exactly what you see what people do. They see like visual, but at first we were trying like a bunch of different things, and then I finally came with the idea for the line art, and the guys liked it, so we just sat there and created meta badges for like days straight, not doing anything else, just sitting there creating meta badges. And yeah, even, there are even people in there, if you more the Jello and Chris actually designed.
That's awesome.
I can't remember exactly which ones. Yeah, they did a few of them. I have to check back which ones they were. I remember them visually. I just forgot the name right now. But yeah, it has their designing, their drawing skills involved.
Ask away. We can invite you to ask the speaker questions. Now, Vanessa, what's, if you had a piece of advice for people, like what's your biggest lesson having stepped into the role that you now hold so well? What's your biggest piece of advice? Like, what would you tell people to do? How would you tell them to stay the course? Like, what would your advice be?
Cool. Yeah, that's a great question. I would say probably to not make decisions based on fear of something not working, of you not, being good enough, because throughout this process with OSIS, there was a lot of like self-doubt and wondering like, should I be here? Is this my place? I don't know if I'm up to the task, and a lot of like self-doubting thoughts.
Yeah.
But the guys were also like always supportive, and sometimes it came in the form of like tough love, and I didn't understand at first, but then I get it now. It's just like they were just trying to make sure I wouldn't quit based on fear, based on self-doubt that would like push myself to be better than I was.
Yeah.
So then I would say to not decide stuff based on fear, because that's gonna move you away from things that have value for you and that make sense for your life.
Do you feel much more confident now? Can you see what everyone else sees, for example? Can you appreciate what everyone else is looking at and really enjoys, and that's because of you and your skills?
That's something I'm still working on.
Oh, guys, we've got to keep giving Vanessa love. Shout out her skills.
Yeah, no, I do hear people supporting my work and saying like, oh, I'm a fan of what you did, and etc. And even people reaching out on LinkedIn, trying to be part of the design team as well.
Yeah.
So all of that it's very reassuring, but sometimes it's a little surprising to me. It's like, what are you seeing? You know what I mean? Because to me, I'm always like highly critical of my work. And then seeing people like actually liking it. Even the meta badges, like if I'm being completely honest, at first I was like super critical of it. And then, super critical of it. And then the guys were like trying to like, no, that's like, you don't understand. It's like, it has a lot of value. People are gonna like it. It's gonna make sense to people, etc. It's like a whole like culture being created. And so I'm trying to like, appreciate a little more, but always going to be critical. Of course, we want to deliver the best we can.
I feel like the learning curve really, how do I say this? It's like for myself, like as I'm learning, I feel less confident about what I'll be able to achieve with the skills, but then the more you understand, the more confident you feel. Do you feel like that use of your skills that you understood, you learned at university, you felt really confident in, merging them with this new technology that's in this decentralized sovereign organization, do you feel like that's the most challenging part, getting to knit that together?
Yeah, I would say so, because when I went to college, that was like, oh my God, that was like 10 years ago. I'm old. I know. And I'm going to sound very old saying this, but when I first started the designing school, I didn't even have like a smartphone. You know what I mean? I didn't even have like internet on my phone, pretty much, especially because I was in Brazil and we were a little like behind in the technology advancement. So then my whole the whole scope of classes were involving mostly like branding in the traditional ways. I remember I only had one class that spoke about digital products, and barely did. It was like very, very little. So then to see how far it came in 10 years, like now it's all about that. It's all about user interface and interactions. So I do feel like there was a lot that I had to learn, especially UI, for example. It's something that I did create websites before OSIS, freelancing and stuff. So I did create websites, but that was the extent of my digital design knowledge. So then with OSIS, I had to learn how to use Figma, which is the tool for creating UI. I even did a course on that. I had to learn about user experience. I had to learn a bunch of new things that I couldn't even imagine back in college. So yeah, it was definitely like bridging those two periods of time. Definitely challenged me, yes.
Yeah. I feel like, do you feel like you've realized all the potential from all this learning, or do you feel like Vanessa, the designer for OSIS, still has so many really important and exciting new ventures in front of her with the project? Do you feel like it's not, you're kind of just touching the edges of what you're going to achieve with OSIS?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a long path of learning ahead of me. I think that's always going to be the case, right? And it doesn't matter what we do and what area we're in, there's always something new to learn. And with the word progressing and technology advancing, there is always going to be new things that we're going to have to learn. So I'm completely cool with that process. I find it very exciting, actually.
Yeah.
And then also other skills that came with the job that were very like foreign to me. Like, for example, having to like lead another designer and make sure they're following the visual guidelines and having communication with them, and just like leading someone and being able to improve my communication skills, like all of that. It's still things that I need to improve a lot. Like I recognize that I don't have like the best communication or the best public speaking skills. Those are all things that I'll definitely have a lot to learn still.
Yeah. I feel like do you reckon it's a process of being brave enough to look at the areas? For me personally, I sometimes feel like I've got all the skill mastery in this space that I've always worked in, but now I have to step into this new area and I have to feel brave enough to learn what I don't know.
Yeah.
Especially with such a like, do you feel like because you stepped into this space with design, your confidence has been reassured by your skill set, whereas someone who steps into it for learning may be a little bit less able to see where their own feet stand in this new space? Does that make sense?
Sorry, Rachel, I couldn't understand.
It's like you've got your design skills and you're learning when you're still using the skills that you've brought with you, whereas someone else might come into this learning space but they're not able to translate their skills yet because they don't know where their skills or their existing skills fit.
You mean with design and the design?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, yes. I've experienced that with a few people we had on board, and then a couple of interns where it was the very first contact with them with this world. So not only they had to do the same process of how do I apply what I know into like this new world of blockchain that nobody really understands yet. And so not only they had to learn that with design, but also, okay, if I'm going to be part of this company and I'm going to create products for them, of course I need to understand what's going on. I need to understand the goals and like what we're trying to solve, the problems we're trying to solve. And so then it comes with a lot of studying as well, the blockchain. And I can see like a difference between the people that we had on board that did take the time to try to understand the company and the people that didn't. It's pretty clear, like the difference in the final result with design when they don't take the time to actually understand, and which is interesting because one of the, I would say probably the biggest part of being a designer is understanding the need. Like you're not trying to create something that looks cute. You're trying to create something that what is the word? That like addresses a need. You know what I mean? It's with design, it's all about utility. It's different from what I learned in advertisement where try to sell. No, design is like, what is the need and how can I solve this need? So yeah, it's very like user focused as well, I would say. So yeah, it's funny because like people have this vision of design being like only the visual aspect of it, when in fact it's so much more. It literally is problem solving and user focused.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I wouldn't have thought, probably because I hadn't considered it from that angle, but now that you say that, it makes complete sense.
Yeah, it's actually beautiful, I think.
Yeah, like it is. And I'm imagining that it's not so much, is it for you, it's not so much chasing the beauty, but seeing it all merge together is the beautiful part?
Yeah, I think so. That was actually I hope this word exists. Deconstruct, is that the word?
Is it deconstruct?
Yeah, from the visual aspect of it, and it's something that's still being worked on. Where like sometimes I have to add something to the design that I'm not happy with visually, but it makes sense to be there. Given colors and stuff, sometimes like Chris and Joel, they have like a really good eye for those things and for those interactions. So sometimes they like you put that in there or do this, and then I'm like, no, but that doesn't look good, and then I do it, of course, and then I have to remember, okay, that serves a purpose. It's not only like the purpose is not to be visual appealing. It's actually so much more than that. So it's okay if I don't think it's perfect visually. I have to remember that it serves a purpose most of all.
Okay. Well, I feel like personally, I feel like I have met the Vanessa that I thought was in the project, and I feel like you would be someone I would really enjoy having in my team, because I feel like you would be so open to conversations and learning. But I also feel like it's obvious to everyone, Vanessa, your skills are totally, they're up there and they're great. But I feel like what is the main thing about this project that matters to you? Is it personal, is it professional, or is it one of each? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I would say both. Personally, it completely makes sense to me because I'm doing what I like, just working with design. I'm working in a company that's not exploiting me like it happened before. You know what I mean?
Yes, thankfully. Yeah. That sounded terrible.
Yeah, and with people that I admire and that I want to like follow the steps and all, and I learned so much with them, and like really, really nice, sweet, genuine people in this team. Yeah. All of them, honestly, and it's also really cool to like learn about the different cultures and different ways of communicating. So that's on the personal side, it's very fulfilling, and just being able to have a lot of freedom of creation, like I do, where I can always come up with something like I want, like I would create, and having that space to share and to have open communication and all of it. Yeah. And then what was the other one? Sorry. I forgot.
No, you're fine. Professionally, in society, or in culture. Yeah. How do you feel like the project matters?
Well, like I was saying before, I think the social impact that it has is really beautiful and definitely aligns with my visions of the world as well. And I don't know, just like being community driven and bringing benefits to so many people, that's like beautiful. That's doing something with meaning. And I think there's nothing like that compares to doing something you love with the goal of like bringing like real benefit and real like freedom to people. And it's been like really inspiring to be in this journey with these amazing people. I'm really grateful.
Well, I feel like you've really given us an opportunity to peer behind the curtain at you and your role, and I feel like so many people will be curious to hear from Vanessa, because you're kind of like this. You've been giving us so much as a community. We've got our visuals, we've got our meta badges, but we've never really totally had a chance to say hello to Vanessa and get to know you.
I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate you, Rachel, for making this process, this call to be so easy. Because like I said,
thank you. I feel like we should send Twitter some feedback. We should give Elon some feedback about his platform being a bit buggy, though.
Is it still bugging, you think?
Potentially, maybe a little bit. But look, I think we handled it very well.
Yeah, I think so. Besides the bugging and my internet.
So have we got any question, guys? Did anyone want to ask Vanessa a question before we close up? Now would be the time.
Yeah, ask me anything, guys. I'm open to anything personal or design or OSIS.
Don't be shy.
Yeah, let us know.
I don't know if we've got... Potentially we've covered everything excellently. Oh, no, we've got one. Let's have a look. We should have Gary. Nope, we lost.
I can see that he's connecting.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Jalal. Thanks for taking the time, guys. It's been great to have an audience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so no questions. I guess
I think we
or
spoke.
do we have one?
I think we spoke a little too soon when we said the Twitter bugs are gone, because I see Gary connecting here, but he is not fully connected. I'm gonna bring you back in, Gary. One moment. Invite to speak. You should get a little update there. Okay. We'll give this one more attempt before
Do you guys
we
see anything?
close. I see Gary still trying to connect here, but Gary, if you can hear us, it might be an issue on your phone or your device. Oh,
Rachel, are you there?
I think you might be here.
Dudley.
Oh, we're trying to give him access.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's here now.
Okay.
Go ahead, Gary. No audio from you, Gary. Okay, if there are no other questions, Rachel, I leave it to you and Vanessa to wrap this up.
Perfect. Thank you. Did you have any closing thoughts for us, Vanessa? Any pearls of wisdom? Anything you would want us to keep in mind as we all move forward as a community?
I would say first and foremost, thank you all, for all the support, for being part of the community and giving me space to be able to share a little bit of my path with you. So I appreciate you all. Appreciate you, Rachel, for this amazing interview. And
thank you.
Yeah, and just share that I'm very excited for everything that's about to come. Feedback is always appreciated on everything. Don't be shy. Always let us know your thoughts on everything we're putting out. If you see anything that can improve or something that you're having some difficulty with, we're always down for some feedback. And yeah, I'm just excited for what the future holds for us.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'm sure I speak for the community when I say thank you for all your efforts to date, and we appreciate all the changes and the updates. We see them and we enjoy them because it's also milestones for us as well. So I think when you bring us something new, we can see how we're growing as well. So it's not just a visual image, it's a milestone for us all to see that, yeah, we're progressing and this is what it looks like now. We may be moving somewhere else, but right now we've got progress. So I would say we're really grateful for what you're bringing us, Vanessa, and we're probably really, really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us as well. We've got, I think it's just, I think for me personally, the first thing I really knew was mine and I loved was my meta badges. And Vanessa, you're a huge part of that. So I thank you. And I think everyone would thank you as well, because in the future, those are going to be our utility. You know what I mean? They're going to be the things that we can apply and use in our ecosystem. So really and truly, thank you for the work you're doing. And we're really going to appreciate everything that you bring us in the future as well. So thank you for your time today, Vanessa. I just want to mention that we've got our Chief Strategy Officer, Lenny Nicholson, up in the hot seat for the lounge tomorrow. And we really appreciate everyone tuning in to meet the wonderful Vanessa. And I can probably suggest that we're all going to be waiting to see what you're going to bring us next, Vanessa.
Thank you, guys. I'm very excited for everything that's about to come. And yeah, like you said, it's I guess a visual representation of the progress as a whole. There's so much more than in the background happening. So I guess the design kind of follows that, and showcasing the progress. So yeah, I appreciate all the inputs and everything else, Rachel and everyone here. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time. And thank you, guys. We're going to wrap up now. I hope you all enjoy your days, your evenings, and we look forward to seeing you all here tomorrow. Same time, same place.
All right. Bye, guys.